WRPB and WRPB Studios. So the gentleman sitting next to me has really an interesting job, and a lot of people won't maybe not understand it, and hopefully we can explain some of the details of what he does and maybe disseminate information that will give you an opinion about water. Next to me is Josh Silk, and he is the owner of PSL Water Guy. So, what is PSL Water Guy? Let's start with that.
Well, first off, Wayne, thank you so much for inviting me over
You're
here.
welcome.
PSL Water Guy is a water treatment company here on the Treasure Coast that helps families and some businesses with cleaner, healthier water at an affordable price.
So, okay, so do you do like there is wells and septics and there's city water?
That's correct.
Do you do both?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. I know in Martin County there's an issue with a ton of wells,
Yes.
and there's a ton of water problems in Martin County.
Yes.
Without putting you on the spot, can you fix a lot of that?
Yes. According to my reputation,
Okay.
I have fixed many homes. The biggest thing is that it has to be done right the first time, or else families end up paying for it 2 or 3 times.
Well, and that makes sense. How long you been around the industry?
Well, we started off as customers about 7 years ago.
Wow.
We were helping a business called Eastern Water and Health, and then we bought the man's business, who was a veteran that had to move to take care of his mother. So we kind of inherited this responsibility. But what I found when I was helping Joe's business was a lot of these companies were kind of taking advantage of families and doing wrong by people. And that really hurt my feelings.
Well, okay. Since I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff, what do you actually do? So the water comes to the house.
Okay, are we on city water or are we on well water?
Let's go with well water.
Okay, we're on well water.
All right. So the well comes to the house.
Correct.
Where do you get to?
Where do we intercept it?
Yes.
Okay, so the well is drilled into the ground, and then it has a pressure tank and a pump. Okay, this is what pulls the water out, and then it has to push it through some kind of treatment system before it enters the house.
No matter what. So everybody
matter
who's
what.
a well has some sort of treatment system.
It really should, especially in Martin County and the Treasure Coast overall. Okay, at that point, you need to dictate what kind of water is coming into the house, and then treat it accordingly. If you don't treat it properly, it might work for a few months, and then they have really big problems, as you've heard a lot about.
So I've done real estate for years. I do commercial, but I see these big tanks outside.
Yeah.
Is that the processing of the water?
Yeah, so there's different things to do. Like on well water, we need to oxidate the things like iron and hydrogen sulfide or sulfur. Okay. We need to minimize the hardness, what causes scale. And we need to do something to eliminate the sediment before it enters into the house or the business.
Okay, so I know and I've heard, and I know everybody's heard, that my water turns my tub brown.
Okay.
What causes it?
That's iron. So the oxidation of iron, first off and foremost, 5% of the world is iron. So us humans like to pull the water out of the ground and then shower with it. If you don't oxidate that water coming into the house, then it's going to oxidate somewhere where you don't want it, in your sink, in your toilet, in your shower. So that's why it's important to treat the water properly so you get the result you're looking for.
All right, so the tanks and stuff, that's outside the house. So you catch the water before it gets in.
Correct.
Okay, and I guess that runs throughout the whole house.
That's correct.
How often does it need to be maintained?
Yeah, so maintenance is everything when it comes to well water on the Treasure Coast. When families don't maintain the water coming into the system, the water coming out of the system is going to be in jeopardy. Okay. I always like to say it needs to flow in and it needs to flow out in order to keep it nice. So maintenance on a well water system requires changing filters for the sediment, adding salt for the hardness, and then if you're using some kind of oxidation approach like air or chlorine or hydrogen peroxide, then you need to make sure that stuff stays full. It is a full-time focus to make sure all the well water houses on the Treasure Coast have what they need to have cleaner, healthier water.
Okay, so I get a system January 1st. How often should I maintain it or check
Yeah,
it?
I tell every well water family to look over your well water system every single month. Okay?
Okay.
Change the filter, add some salt, add some oxidation, and just look it over. It's the families that tend to not look over things
That would be me.
that end up having really big problems.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we're changing the filter, we're adding the salt, and that the system overall still has power, it's still operational, because a small little glitch becomes a really big problem.
All right, so without talking dollars, I'm going to guess that your company does a maintenance agreement that you
Oh,
can
of
do?
course, yeah. And whenever we're servicing a family, we only charge them for what they consume. Okay, because it's a very important part of the well water maintenance to make sure it's maintained properly so it performs optimally.
Okay, hold on a second. Is there a meter on the system?
Depending on what kind of system, if you buy from us, yes, there is a meter.
Okay.
Some systems, not everything's created equal, as we all know. The metering device is just how often it cleans itself. Okay, it doesn't tell you anything like add salt or that.
Okay, so we live in a world of technology.
Yeah,
Have the systems evolved technology-wise?
yeah, definitely. You know, a lot of different companies are selling products that have Wi-Fi connection. You can see your gallons per minute. You can see your salt level. Obviously, with all technology, some of this stuff is becoming a little bit too fancy,
Without a
where when something does go wrong, it ends up being a bigger issue.
Well, we say it. When I was growing up, we didn't have power windows and power door locks, and you could open up the hood of your car and walk inside and take care of the oil and everything, the spark plugs and everything. As it gets more advanced, it's like I can't do anything.
You know, and that's
And your systems are going to be the same.
we don't like pushing anything that's proprietary that forces our customers to have to go with a particular company of stuff. We like to sell non-proprietary products that allow our families to live with these water systems for a long time.
Okay, so my next question is, if we move off of the wells and we go to city water, is the same system?
Slightly, yes. City water is different simply because we trade natural things for unnatural things.
Right.
So with municipal water, 9 times out of 10, they're just pumping it out of the ground. They're doing all the oxidation process themselves. They're putting the required, cleaning chemicals into the water so that they can send it away.
Okay, so people try not, this is not my industry, so I might say something that makes no sense. So people say, yeah, I have city water and it has fluoride in it. Is that right?
Yeah, so the municipals were using fluoride for a while, but January of this year, as it's been announced, Florida stopped altogether using fluoride in the water.
What was bad about fluoride?
That's a whole debate for individuals that are more scientific than me. I never really saw a big problem with it. I did have many houses that wanted it removed from their water. One of the services that we offer called reverse osmosis drinking systems. A reverse osmosis membrane strips the fluoride from it. So as long as my families are getting a reverse osmosis system to consume the water with, they don't have to worry about microplastics, chemicals, radion, cancer-causing chemical, or things like fluoride, even though it's not in the water anymore.
All right, so let me ask this. I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here. Why do I need that when I can buy a water filter on my sink, or one that I fill up a jug and it kind of takes the stuff out of the water? What's the difference?
Okay, well, that's a really good question, and a lot of people are just trying to find the solution. Okay, the difference between Having your own water treatment reverse osmosis system and having to buy something is your control against whatever is going on out there and what your family's consuming. With a non-proprietary alkaline RO drinking system, your family will have amazing water to drink and cook with as often as you wish. And when you buy from a hometown company like PSL Water Guy, we're not selling a proprietary product. Proprietary means that they need to go to a particular place and buy a particular thing.
Right.
Like Brita filters, for example. You have to buy your Brita filter from Brita. I mean, I know they have a lot of knockoffs, but regardless, it's a proprietary filter. If they stop making that filter for whatever reason, you then have to go off and buy another product.
I think, and I'm going to interject here, I think really the biggest thing is, especially if you have a well, is that that's my kitchen sink. What about my bathtub? What about my bathroom sinks that I brush my teeth in?
Right.
They're not filtered.
Well, the whole house will be treated. Some people elect to go all the way to the level of like a whole house reverse osmosis for well water. Of course, that's part of that discovery process, what someone needs at that time. I especially recommend that for families that have livestock, they have horses, they have chickens and goats. That really makes sure that the vet bills are going to be minimized. Because you are right. Everything that we consume should really be reverse osmosis, because reverse osmosis, the science says it removes 98.9% of everything in the water. And that's not a claim. That's what science suggests.
All right. So you decide that this is the business you're going to get into. Did you have family support?
Well, Nancy and I bought our first house here in St. Lucie County about 9 years ago. And one of the things on my bucket list was to make sure my family had cleaner, healthier water on our municipal water. So we were at the chiropractor one day and I saw a guy's truck that said reverse osmosis water treatment. So I started talking to him. Joe was a veteran and he was a very nice individual. And I decided to barter some of my services for his services so I can get cleaner, healthier water for my family.
I get that. Again, you got to look at when you do something, sometimes you got to look at the indirect benefits. I remember when I lived in Jersey, I had a well, and I remember the nightmare of having to clean the bathtub because that rust. Is that what it is?
Well, it's oxidation of iron. Yeah. So basically, it's
Was
sort of kind of
disgusting.
like rust. Yes, I know.
Okay, and to bathe in it was disgusting.
It's very natural.
Okay, I don't know if it's unhealthy. Is it unhealthy?
It's debatable.
Okay, I mean for me, it was unhealthy just to look at it. So
I agree.
And it wasn't. I say the bathtub, but it was the bathtub. The bathroom sink, the kitchen sink was stainless. So I didn't really have that problem.
Right.
But the toilet,
Anywhere where the oxidation can occur. And that's why when we started this conversation, it's important for our families to know, especially with well water, if you do not treat the water properly, then those effects will come back and they will be annoying.
oh my God, very okay. Not only annoying, but it's very hard to clean that rust or that oxidation or whatever you choose to call it. We're getting to the top of our time. How do people find you? You have a website?
Yes, of course. We're all over the World Wide Web. We're BBB accredited. We have 5 stars on Google, pslwaterguy.com, 772-301-1767. We are a family business, and we really try to help everybody with the most honest recommendations straight across the board.
What's the future for your company?
My youngest daughter wants to continue with the company. And
How old is she?
She's 10. So I have to keep serving our community to see if she truly wants it in the future.
And until she's old enough to take it over.
My wife and I are full-time helping people 7 days a week. It's a lot of responsibility.
Josh, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Wayne.
Everybody, check them out, and we'll be right back.